So here is Fifi, and she is in the open prelim at the Ocala horse trials, and she is also in the same division as B, my other Irish mare, so they're both in Division B. And down the center line I come, and for Fifi, she's such a small, compact type, it's easier to do the posting or rising trot with her. And she really is becoming really nice and solid in this phase. Cross the diagonal into our lengthened trot. And then for our leg yield to the right. And then we have to change bend. That's what I've messed this test up before because of changing the bend and the leg yield. So sometimes we really have to work on keeping the test straight in our mind. So into our halt. I want to make sure I stand long enough, and then into the rein back. So probably lost a little bit of points on that halt because the left hind was out, and then she just dropped a little bit low in the rein back. So now going into my other leg yield. I kind of messed this up on the angle. We're a little bit all over the place, and that's all me. And then change the direction. And now I go into my stretchy trot. And again, she maybe could be a little lower and a little bit further out, but you know, she's staying right on the aids. And then down into our walk transition. And now she also has a pretty good walk as well. And now we are into our free walk. Just I have to make sure she keeps marching. But you can see she has a large overstep and she's willing to stretch down and out. And then she's also a pretty good girl about when I have to shorten up into medium walk. She stays on the aids. And then into trot. And then I like to make sure I get deep into my corners so I can get the medium canter or lengthened canter. And then come back. She's a little bit bobby in the contact. Sometimes when she gets a little tight, that's what she'll do. And then cross the diagonal for our counter canter. That's a nice transition. So again, lengthen canter down the long side and then back to working canter on the half 20 meters and then into your cross the diagonal for your counter canter. She did that really well. And into trot and down our center line. I'm just staying in the sitting trot to prepare for the halt. She goes a smidge off to the right, but overall I was pleased. She put down another solid test and she scored a 31.6. So I was quite pleased with her. Now on to the show jump. And I always like to let her walk in as relaxed as I can get her, because as soon as she likes to get a little up and go. She is a bit of a funny mare, but she's coming along. So just working on her softness a little bit. She gives me a good jump. She goes in a very soft rubber bit. It's very bendy, and it seems like that's the best thing that she likes. And I had a plan to come through and get a more forward-going shot in, but I still was only able to find the quiet one, so she was very good to keep coming and make that line work. And we did the ad there again, but again, she was a good girl and responded. And found a good shot here so that I'm able to kind of keep coming to the move X oxer. And then she does a pretty good job here of listening to my voice when I ask her to steady and jumping the last combination really well. So very pleased with her. She moved up a couple of placings with her clean round and was happy with her rideability. Still got to work on some things of smoothing it out a little bit more, but we're getting there. So now on to cross country. And she started off pretty good. And I was really happy with how focused her ears were being forward. And she's being pretty relaxed for Fifi. She still has her fast gear, but we're really starting to get to know each other, and she's pretty fun. So she went through that combination really well. And she's feeling very confident. Jumps that table really nicely. Again, jumps that rail oxter, and sometimes she kicks on those little afterburners, and I have to tell her to steady. And now coming to the corner combination, so I'm again going to dial her down a little bit. And make sure I can get a good shot coming up the mound. And get the nice 5-stride. And she's had some confidence issues in the past with corners, but she's, again, felt super good, read the question, ears were forward, and I was really pleased with how she did that combination. You can see her ears are still working, but they are starting to really focus. Now coming to the water combination. She's a very good girl. And I was really pleased with her because I was a little bit in a longer distance to that chevron, and she was a good girl and jumped from the gap for me. Found a good shot to that table. And this course felt very easy for her, which was a nice feeling. So we're starting to get there. And again, going to try to be efficient. She's very quick across the ground, so typically time isn't an issue for Fifi. And I always am trying to stay out of her way and trying to be in a neutral place. So coming then to this water combination, she's a very good girl about the mounds. Had to make sure I steady and then come out on the 4. And now the last 2 fences. Got a little bit of underneath that one. And now coming to the last find a pretty good distance. And again, I was really pleased with her round. She ended up being double clear and finished just behind her big sister B, with finishing in 5th place on her dressage score. So super thrilled with her.